Everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you could go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what. Because God is always coming. He's never too late. At your worst moment, look, man, when they told me I had to be in New York, I saw no way I could get there. But that God, though, he make the phone ring. I end up in Florida, I make $300. Then I go to New York, I make $750. Almost got $1,000 out of nowhere. That's what happened to me. That was my moment of never giving up. That's when I first learned that faith was everything, that you have to remain faithful.
We leveled up one of our major funnels and it rapidly increased the conversion rate.
He thinks he puts his heart into what he does to be able to deliver.
You know, you and Macy, both super sharp, man. And that's one of the biggest pleasures of working together. You guys are like diamonds, you know, very hard to come across in the digital world.
Best looking profile on Upwork for ClickFunnels. I'm like, this guy is the best. Like, this is the guy I need.
He's so thorough with his work. He shows you what he's done, why he did it that way, how to access things. I just so trust him.
Yeah, really into the detail and cannot recommend him highly enough. Buddy, thank you like for everything you've done. And yeah, love working with you.
Nothing But Up, the podcast, season 2, with your host, Jameer Angelo.
Phased by the flex.
Welcome to the podcast. This is Jameer Angelo, your host for Nothing But Up, the podcast. And as always, I'm coming to you live from my simple home office here in the province of South Cotabato. Now, you're tuned in today to season 2, episode 7, and today is Saturday, July 8th. And you guys, I mean, I've been really meaning to gain momentum and be back at it again. And as of today, we're being listened to over 27 countries, 200 average listened hours weekly. And I really appreciate you guys for loving our podcast. And thank you for that. We are going international today, again. And today's episode is just so freaking powerful that I can feel the vibe and good feel about this specific episode. And we are honored to be joined by the author of the book, Saving Christ, Starway 7. And that is Francis T. Perry Williams from United States. He is an actor and has appeared in sitcoms such as Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Bosom Buddies, as well as in the feature Pennies from Heaven. We'll go talk about his book, where to grab copies, and let's also hear some stories behind, writing the book, and some takeaways that we can all have in today's episode. And yes, you just saw a snippet of a video from Steve Harvey. And dating back 1991, I mean, Steve was sleeping in his car. He had about $35 to his name. Everything he had could fit into 2 bags. Just imagine that. He started talking to God about his dreams, and fast forward, out of nowhere, he gets a call from the Apollo asking him to come on the show. And that same night, he met D.L. Hewley and Jamie Foxx for the first time. And all comedians that went on that night. And this is his Apollo story and how he become a well-known host. And this was his turn back moment. Now, you see, everybody has a turn back moment. It's actually the moment you can either go forward or give everything up. Everybody goes into that stage. But there's only one guarantee if you give up. It will never happen. Faith is everything, guys. I mean, God is always on time. He's never too late. And personally, there's this one turn back moment I had, which I can still vividly remember. This was when I was, given the biggest break in my life and career. That moment when I first had a high paying job to be working for a BPO company back in Cebu. And if you've been following me for a while, I bet you know a little bit about my past and my story, from a struggling security guard to landing a job in the BPO industry. Worked with sales for about 8 years, and now proudly dominating the digital marketing world for over 9 years. And having been also recognized as a 2 Comma Club member, awarded by ClickFunnels, and managing multiple 7-figure businesses around the globe. But before I got all the cheers and all the crazy high fives, I had to crawl, over broken glass to be here, to get here. And it all started when I had the break I needed. I applied for roughly about 10 BPO companies before, but there's just only one single company that trusted me and took the chance to hire me. I gave them 2 fruitful years serving the business, became an asset that I could proudly say. And that experience built my confidence, my belief, and molded the idea that I could become someone. And as I've said, you've got to have faith. You have to trust God. And when He sees and hears you calling His name, He'll be there. And I promise you that. And guess what? Today, let's hear it from our very special guest, okay? He is a graduate with a degree in drama and a minor in art and music from San Diego State University, where he wrote, directed, and acted. He is also an actor and has appeared in sitcoms such as Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Bosom Buddies, as well as the feature Pennies from Heaven. He's also wrote an episode for Laverne and Shirley. His first book, Poland and the Ring of Harmony, is about living in harmony with nature. And this next book that has been recently published and released, entitled Saving Christ, Starway 7, is about understanding the true love of Jesus. From Hayden, Idaho, United States of America, let's all welcome Francis T. Perry Williams. Hey, Francis, what's happening, man?
Greetings. I'm happy. Right now, I'm in Hayden, Idaho, which is kind of like a country-like place. I mean, people travel thousands of miles to see a bald eagle. Do you know, Jameer? I have one in my front yard.
You do?
It's huge. It's like 8 foot across. It's a bald eagle in my front yard.
That's an interesting one.
Wild deer. I have antelope. I have horses. I have about 12 acres on my property. So I'm like a game preserve.
Wow, that is really, really massive. Hey, man, I mean, thanks for being here. And I really appreciate your time. But you know what? Before we jump into our discussion today, let's probably start by, talking about your time when you served the U.S. Navy, as you mentioned earlier, and having to come and visit our country, the Philippines. So what was the last time you were here, and what made you fall in love with the country, Barry?
Well, the people are just wonderful. And here's the funny part. I know in LA, I had a lot of Filipino friends, and they would give me lumpia and pancit, and I just loved it. And so the Filipino people are very, very friendly. And by the way, the Filipino women are drop dead gorgeous. I mean, as you well probably know. I mean, they are in a class of their own in that area. I mean, they are, and the people are just very, very friendly. I visited Manila a few times and went to Rizal Park, and I just like fun. It was fun hanging out there. Of course, I was in the U.S. Navy, so I was like, I don't know, it was most of the time I had to be in uniform, and so it was I did stand out. You know, here I am. At the time, I was blonde and blue-eyed. I had hair at the time. I don't have it now, so kind of went the way of the knife. After a while, you kind of give up and say, okay, just cut it off. It's better. And here's the thing: if there was a pill to make my hair grow back, I wouldn't take it. I like it just the way it is right now.
You know what, Perry? The same as with me. I mean, I lost my hair when I was 26, to be honest with you. And moving on, the same answer as you said, man. I mean, if I were given a pill, I wouldn't probably take it. I love it as the way it is now.
The way it is now, yeah. It's just, I think humans gradually are becoming less hair anyway. Or maybe 20,000 years from now, there won't be any hair at all on humans. But no, I visited, of course, I was in Vietnam, and then I also visited Japan. I visited Guam. I visited all the countries around the Philippines in one way. They even went a little trip to Australia. Now, back then, it was back in the 70s, early 70s, so late 60s. So it was a different world back then. I mean, you had you know what a GP is, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
They were when I was there. They were everywhere. They may not be around. Do they still exist?
They do. They do exist.
And I remember I have a picture of about 20 people hanging on one GP, and that's how they got around in those days.
Yeah, they're still existing, and it's one of the probably one of the most traditional way or medium of transport right here. But again, man,
I've been on GPs many times, and they go, "I'm aboard." And this funny about it is like whenever you could find a space, it was okay. Is that still the same?
It's still the same. It's still the same, man.
Now, are you still eating things like? Are you married, by the way?
I am. Actually, we just had our baby last 28th of June, a couple days ago.
So, are you still eating lumpia and pancit?
Of course I am. I mean, that's one of the things that I'm really most proud of our country is our food. And that's those two are my favorites as well. So
my favorites too.
I can absolutely relate, man. So it's a cool thing. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me know about that. And clearly, Perry, you are a nature lover because as you mentioned earlier, you're currently living in a 12-acre tree land in Hayden, Idaho, and protecting nature, as you said. So how's life there, and what made you settle there in Idaho?
Well, I was living in Venice Beach, California. I was at a place called Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, which is one of the most famous gyms in the world. And at that time, I was a personal trainer, and I had I trained Bruce Jenner before he became Caitlyn Jenner for 5 years.
Seriously? Nice.
Yeah. And you're probably too young, but I knew all the O.J. Simpson people. I knew all the people that he was around, and he used to come to the gym all the time. And then we used to have all these famous wrestlers, The Rock, Hulk Hogan would come to him to work out. I mean, that gym was just a sounding ground for people. I mean, it was just, all kinds of famous people would go there. And the gym was just no air conditioning, no heat, just dirty, but people loved it. And so I did a lot of people there, and I got to know a lot of people. And that's when I was doing a lot of my writing in my spare time, which didn't have a whole lot of spare time. But about nature, my first book, Pollen and the Ring of Harmony, is basically about an alien who has amazing powers who was sent to Earth to protect Mother Nature from us.
Interesting.
And so he's the protector of Mother Nature. Like, people don't realize that when we build a new housing compound, all those houses we're building on, we are tearing down the homes of all the poor animals that used to live there. So we, as humans, need to have a circle. We need to understand what we're doing. We need to understand that, for every action that we do, it hurts somebody else, but we have to care a little bit more. I mean, I know it sounds a little bit like I'm a diehard tree hugger, but I just think that we have to learn how to live with nature a little bit better than what we are doing.
For sure, and that's exactly the reason why it took me here. I don't know if I ever shared it over. I believe not, but I've been living in the city life for quite a while until I decided to settle down here in Mindanao, the southern part of the country. where I'm surrounded by nature, Terry. So I fell in love with it.
You understand what I'm doing too. You understand that I'm surrounded by.
Absolutely.
I every day I feed deer. I mean, these deer come to my house. I give them whole wheat bread, and they get about 10 feet from me, not much closer than that. But they all, and I know them, and they're not afraid of me. And they come and get their bread, and they go. Then they leave, and they say, I guess they say thank you. Then I have wild turkeys come, and I have wild horses that come.
Nice.
I have wolves that come. I have eagles that come. I have a fish pond that I've been trying to keep goldfish in, but the big birds, they want to come and eat fish. I mean, it's eat or be eaten, or mostly be eaten. I have raccoons, possums, anything you can think of, I got in my yard.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that's, I think, if I'm throwing a wild guess, that made you fall in love, to stay and be there in Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I miss about LA is the food.
Yeah,
the food is very good there. It's not so good up here. Unfortunately, up here, this is junk food heaven. I don't know why. If you go down the street and you have every junk food you could think of, everyone, they're all there, and not one or two, but dozens of them everywhere.
No, that's interesting to know. Now, you also mentioned, Perry, that you've also acted in the past. You are an actor. You have appeared on sitcoms and films.
Oh, yeah.
What was the experience like? And how did that help you become who you are now, or become the writer that you are now for your books?
Well, my first goal, I always wanted to be an actor, and then I changed, and then I started directing in college, and I liked it because directors have such power. You have no idea how much power a director has. He's almost like a little mini god, and so I wanted to start, I still want Pollen and the Ring of Harmony. That was also designed to be a movie, just like Saving Christ, Starway 7. I try to do very, very big topics. Saving Christ, Starway 7 just kind of came to me about a year ago. I was looking at a magazine article in National Geographic, and it had a picture of Jesus on the cover, and the title said, "The Real Jesus." And I thought to myself, hello, what would Jesus, or who would Jesus be like if you knew him in person? What kind of friend would he be? What kind of person would he be? And I'm not talking about the God Jesus, but the half-human Jesus. And so it just hit me, and I just started doing the research. And here's the hard part. Trying to do research on Jesus is very difficult because very little is known about him. I mean, they said that the family escaped to Egypt when he was born because Herod wanted to kill all young kids, but they don't know much about it. There are a few books about it by Anne Rice, but I want to do a little bit more of a deal where you have the last 7 days of Jesus and have a person from our time sent to go to be with him. So you get the perspective of Jesus from our perspective, not from 2,000 years ago. So I wanted to do a fresh and new telling of the greatest story ever told. But I wanted to do it from a perspective of a modern day woman. Now, the reason the president sends the woman back in time, because he wants this woman to get the attention of Jesus. So this woman, my main character, Jennifer, in the book, is drop dead gorgeous. So he wanted Jesus to notice her, but also she was having dreams about Jesus before going back in time. And so she wanted to meet Jesus. She wanted to know what he was like as a human. And very quickly, she falls in love with him. I mean, it's a very pure love story. Now, in my book, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing derogatory. There's no sex in my book. There's not even a bad word in my book. But there is some killing in my book. I mean, the Romans back then, they killed people. And one of my characters, there's 6 characters sent back in time to be with people. And one of the characters, his name is Kevin Smith. He has been given the assignment by the president to kill Jesus before he gets on the cross. And that would destroy religion for all time. So Jennifer, my main character, must protect Jesus from this particular person, only to know that Jesus is going to die a few days later on the cross, and that is the most love story, even bigger than Romeo and Juliet. So
this is a big story plot you got there, man.
Yes,
I'm impressed.
There's one more thing I'll tell you too. When Jennifer returns from the past, from the time of Jesus, she goes to a church because she is so sad at losing Jesus, because she fell in love with in her opinion, the greatest man of all time. Now, secret in my book, not a secret, but it's open. Jennifer is a virgin, and so she goes
a twist again.
Yes, and she goes inside this church, and these three nuns come up to her, and they tell her, "You are the most beautiful pregnant woman we have ever seen." And she goes, "No way! I'm not. I'm a virgin, and I never had a relationship with a man ever in my life, and that even includes Jesus." So what has happened? Like the original Mary, Jennifer is now the mother of the new Messiah, which is my book too, called "Saving the Messiah."
I got you. Nice. This is nice.
The character in my book, her name is Jennifer Williams, but her middle name is Mary. So her name is Jennifer Mary Williams. And she looked up at God and she says, is this what you had planned for me? Am I the mother of the new Messiah that everybody thought was going to come? And so that's book 2. So I tried a little bit of everything into it. I tried to make it entertaining. I tried to make it, but everything in the Bible happens exactly as it is supposed to happen. So, but you get to see it in the eyes of a modern day woman's
perspective. Yeah.
Right. Who absolutely will not tell Jesus she is from the future. Now, Jesus kind of knows she's from a strange land because she's different and she's, different from anybody else. But he knows she's from the future. But but he kind of figures out she's from someplace that is really far away. But also, my book is a love story. And even though Jesus and Jennifer fall in love, at the end of it, Jesus tells Jennifer that she cannot save him because she wants to save him, but she can't. She even, in fact, he sends her away and she's crying the whole time. And that morning, she wakes up and she looks up at the sky and she knows that Jesus is going to be on the cross real soon. And she says, "I'm sorry, God, whether you like it or not, I'm going to try to save your son." So she goes in her time ship, is disguised as a leper colony, grabs a machine gun, and she reaches out to, save Jesus. Now, on the way, these Roman soldiers stop her, and they have been given orders to, take her, and then they don't. She shows them that the machine gun. They don't know what it is. They go, "What is that stick?" And then all of a sudden, this one Roman soldier has a statue right next to him, and she takes that machine gun and just destroys the statue into thousands of pieces. And the Romans are going, they're crazy, and they get down on their knees because they think she's a god. The god of war. So they get out of her way. And so what happens, though, she tries to get near Jesus, and suddenly this giant wall of flame comes between her and Jesus, and with words on it, "Stop. You cannot save my son. He must do what he has to do. Go back to your time with love. For you have given my greatest love of all." Because I wanted to use Jennifer and Jesus because Jesus gets strength from Jennifer. There's a scene, 2 Roman soldiers are trying to pick on Jesus, and Jennifer, being an FBI agent, just beats them to pulp. And Jesus doesn't like it. He goes, "You cannot hurt people because of me." Because, well, they're going to hurt you. So they kind of have a rapport back and forth.
Yeah, that is such a very good story plot there. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely shows the human side of Jesus.
For sure. And you know what, Perry, you are known, and from the story that you shared now, you are always known for your thought-provoking ideas and unique perspectives. So I really wanted to ask you this, and I've been meaning to ask you this. So how does Saving Christ, Starway 7 challenge conventional thinking and push boundaries in his exploration of spirituality and science fiction between the two? I wanted to get your idea on that.
Okay, I'll tell you right now. Okay, every movie you have ever seen about Jesus or that area, they're all the same because they have the perspective of 2,000 years ago. I changed all that. I made it the perspective from modern day, how we think today, how you would think about it, how you would like to meet Jesus, what you would ask of Jesus. And so that's why it's so different, because it inputs a modern day woman with her thoughts and her way of thinking into 2,000 years ago. Now, remember, 2,000 years ago, women were considered not very high up on the hierarchy. They were treated very poorly.
Mhm.
She was different from that. She was strong, proud. So Jesus fell in love with her because of that point, because of her bravery. And even Jesus tells her at the end, because of you and your bravery, I can face the cross even more.
Mhm.
And he goes, you have been a gift from my Father, because he thinks that she was sent by his Father to help her for his last 7 days. And he goes, you have been the greatest gift of all time for me, but you still have to leave. I still have to die to save humans, to save mankind.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that whole point of showing Jesus from the perspective of a modern day woman, also very importantly, is showing Jesus as a human, as opposed to God. So he's funny, he's laughable, he makes jokes sometimes, he smiles, so he's a real person, and that's never been before.
Yeah.
It
And
shows Jesus.
probably, Terry, let's probably go back to Jennifer, because I'm really keen and interested to know more beyond the character that you mentioned. When you started writing this book and probably, doing some research with your approach with Jennifer's character development, what were, some specific challenges that you faced while creating it?
Okay, I wanted Jennifer to be questionable. I mean, she has a degree in religion, but she doesn't really know. She doesn't really know for sure if Jesus ever existed or not. She doesn't really know. She wants proof. And when she finds the real man, the real person, it just sends her, it creates a faith in her that she never had before. And she comes home, even though she's very sad, she has the greatest gift of all, is love and faith. And that's what she obtains. And I wanted a character that was super strong. I wanted a character that would not, in those times would be very dynamic, saying, okay, woman is actually trying to walk with Jesus. Who is she? I mean, she gets the attention of everybody because, number one, she's different. She's, more of a American woman as opposed to a Mideastern woman. So, right then and there, they go, where did she come from? And she's so much taller than everybody else. And she has lighter skin and she has lighter hair, but she can fight. They're really
of
fun.
course. FBI. Yeah, you know what I mean.
But once again, I'm trying to tell that I'm trying to show a different side of Jesus, because no one has ever said, what would Jesus be like if he was just your friend?
Mm. And I get you now.
They all go like, he's the God. He's the God. No, I wanted to make it half God, half man, but I wanted to show that, he was half man.
Yes, for sure.
Where Jennifer and Jesus go to visit Mary, his mother, and Jesus has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of a funny, family, because this one of the brothers is named Judas, just like Judas, disciple.
Judas, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he says, Mother, to Mary, why is Jesus so tall and we are not? And then, Mother, why is Jesus so handsome and we are just ordinary? And in fact, the only thing we have in common with Jesus is that we are all poor. So he says, why can't Jesus make us rich? And Mary goes, now that is wrong. You know that he cannot and should not do that. But I mean, Jesus is different because he was from a different father.
Yes, for sure. Exactly.
And so I wanted to show all that. I wanted to show that, Jesus had a human side too. And nobody wants to do that. But I did.
And you did. And I really appreciate you for doing so. This is such... it is a very, very striking concept. And when I came across your book, I immediately started digging into it. And look at your shirt, man. Saving Christ, Starway 7. People would love to have those. But I wanted to ask you, where can people buy copies of your book right now, Perry? Where is it available? How can they grab a copy of it?
Number one is my Amazon.com, Goodreads.com, my publisher Dorrance.com, but Amazon is the best. I have reviews on there that show that one reviewer even called it a little miracle of a novel, and they said, another one said, experience Christ in a way no one ever dared to write about, and that's what I did because it's so different. Another reviewer said it's part science fiction, it's part religious fiction, it's part romance. Goes, Saving Christ defies categorization because it's so different. Like my category is actually, I call it religious science fiction, but it's more because it's also religious romance.
Yes, I agree.
And so I wanted this to be a romance even bigger than Romeo and Juliet, because Jennifer and Jesus, you find out more about each other when two people fall in love. You find out everything about them because they become less inhibited and they tell each other everything. But everything in the Bible happens exactly as it happens. Nothing changes, except Jennifer is there to witness it.
Yes.
Now there's one little scene where at the end where they're at Simon the leper's house, and there's this woman that's supposed to come and wash Jesus with her hair. Now Jennifer is there and she's fallen in love with Jesus, and there's no way she's going to let some other woman touch Jesus at all. So she gets a little bit jealous sometimes. She tells this woman, "Thank you, but no thank you," and she closes the door on her. I'll do this.
Hey, look, you're giving away so much snippets of the book, and people are beginning to literally, fall in love with this. I know.
I won't tell you all, but there was a reason why Jesus can walk on water. Jesus, can walk on water, but I give it a reason why, a very logical.
In the book, you mean?
Oh, in the book, yes.
Okay, nice. Thank you so much for that, Perry. Look, if I got you correctly, people can buy copies of the book Saving Christ, Starway 7 on Amazon, and I'm going to be on this episode right here. I'm going to be dropping links for people to click and be able to purchase copies of your book, because again, it's very interesting, and that's the reason why I decided to get in touch with you, connect with you. It's one of those reasons, and of course, you visiting the Philippines is another good reason for us to talk, and thank you for that.
My dream is for this to be made into a movie so that millions of people can experience this.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to sell it as a movie because this is a concept that is so new. It's not like a sequel. It's not like all the other movies out there that are all the same old things. This is a totally new idea and fresh. And so that's what I'm trying to work on.
It is a fresh one.
I really do appreciate your kindness and your heart and to have me on your show.
Thank you so much. And finally, Perry, what's your message for our listeners and viewers on this show? And how can they get a hold of you for any particular events or activities for your book?
Well, I have a website, all small case, jctimetravel.com. And it's pretty easy to find, at least I hope it is. Now it is. And I have a saying I tell people, and my book is not just for religious people. It's for anybody who has an interest in Jesus, because even to this date, Jesus is the most known person on planet Earth, and that includes China. He is the most known person anywhere on planet Earth. But he had a simple and pure love that we as humans have lost, and we need to reconnect. And I was saying that no matter who you are, and no matter what you believe, if you know Jesus, you know love. And that's my thing. And I'm trying to say that was the epitome of what Jesus was all about. And you don't have to be religious to understand and respect Jesus for his love. And, no matter what religion, I don't care. Exactly. His love is paramount, stands out.
And I so thank you for that word. Appreciate you for that. And guys, it's been a great episode. I'm loving what I'm hearing, and I'm very keen and eager to get this book promoted out in the public as well, because this deserves a look, to be honest. So Perry, again, once again, thank you so much. And guys, that's a wrap for this episode, Nothing But Up the podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation, and I hope you were able to get some takeaways, valuable insights, and perspectives. And remember, no matter what challenges you may face, there's always a way to rise above and keep moving forward. With the right mindset and determination, nothing can hold you back. Nothing but up. Thus, the episode and the title of the show. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring conversations like this. This is Jameer Angelo. Until next time, peace, y'all.
Sage about the flex. Sage about the flex.